What's up, Greg? I hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to another episode of This Actually Happened, except it didn't. Lately, I've become a little bit obsessed with this radio show that I hear when I drive to the gym in the mornings a lot. It's called Waiting by the Phone. If you listen to good old Fred and Angie on 103.5 in Chicago, then there's a good chance that you've heard it before. I think that it is awful. And I've been listening to it a lot lately because it confuses me so much, and now it's taking up all of my thoughts, and so I need to make a video about it to vent so that I can stop thinking about it, and I can transfer all of my concern to you guys. So that's what I'm gonna do. Basically, the premise of the show is somebody calls the radio because they just went on a date, they had a great time, but now they're getting ghosted. What went wrong on the date? Why is this mean person ghosting this nice, sweet person who's just looking for love? But then craziness ensues. Here's the thing though, every single situation in all of these dates that they describe are so insane that they could not possibly be real. So in the past week, I downloaded the iHeartRadio app. I think I might be the first person to ever say that or admit that. So let's start off by listening to one, shall we? We're gonna listen to this one. It was actually recently voted the #1 episode of Waiting by the Phone by Waiting by the Phone fans. They had a little contest. This one is called The Drug Deal. So let's take a listen.
Why'd they get blown off? We'll find out now in Waiting by the Phone with Fred and Angie.
Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Very well. Good morning. Thanks for being on the show. It's Waiting by the Phone. Tell us about this guy, Matthew, how you guys met and where you stand right now.
I like the little club beat that they always play at the beginning. It's this little like... And they're like, so this really nice guy that you really like is not calling you back and now you're all alone? Tell us more about how this crippling failure is affecting you.
He came by and picked me up and we went out to dinner and then a movie and then drinks after. He didn't reach out to me at all after the date, and I was kind of confused about that.
This girl is saying that the date went great, nothing weird happened, it was just a normal date, and nothing went wrong, and she can't possibly imagine why this guy would not want to call her back. So now let's listen as Fred and Angie call this guy and ask him why he won't call her back.
Welcome back. Let's call Matthew. You met through some friends. You were set up.
Right.
And you want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what he has to say.
We'll call him right now.
She's very interested to see what weird reason he could have for not wanting to call her back. Let's take a look.
Hello?
Hi, Matthew. Good morning, Fred and Angie. Paulina Kaling calling for Fred and Angie in the morning on Kiss FM. I have to tell you, before we go any further with the call, that we are on the radio right now, and I need your permission to keep talking. Is it cool if we keep going with the call?
Yeah.
We're calling on behalf of a woman named Allison who reached out to us and said that you guys were set up and you had a great date. She kind of wanted to know what's going on, why you're ghosting.
We went on a date. It was just supposed to be a movie, and then after the movie, she said, let's go get some drinks, and it wasn't part of the plan. It was all going really well, and on the way to get drinks, she said, let's go to Target, and she tells me exactly where to park, which is not anywhere near the front of the store, and then I look over, there's somebody in the car, his window rolls down, then a drug deal happens.
They were in the middle of a date, having a great time, and she thought, hey, you know what would be really fun? A fun thing to do with this stranger who I know nothing about? I'm gonna take him to deal some cocaine. At the very least, this girl has some very serious time management issues. She booked a date at the same time as a drug deal. That's a big no-no. We all know that. We all learned that in Drug Dealer 101. You don't book a date at the same time as a drug deal. So now that she knows why this dude won't call her back, let's see how she responds. Will she be like, oh, of course. Taking a stranger to a drug deal on a date is a weird thing to do. Let's find out.
You did a drug deal on the date.
I mean, I didn't make him do any of the drugs.
You do the drug deal. You gave me money. I handed him money. You handed me cocaine. I handed you cocaine. I became a drug dealer in that situation.
You know what? Grow up.
Grow up? Huh? Why is she so flabbergasted by the idea that this dude didn't want to do a drug deal on a date? Even people who deal drugs know that you should probably get to know someone and, build trust with someone before you reveal to them that you are a drug dealer.
Allison, you have to acknowledge that maybe if he's not into that, then he doesn't want to get nailed for buying it.
Oh, please. He wasn't buying it. We were just out to have a good time, and so I was trying to make it better.
Okay. Look, so is there any way, would you get past this, Matthew?
So then Fred and Angie ask if there's any way that the dude could get past this and go on another date with her. He obviously says no, and that is the end of the episode. That is an episode of Waiting by the Phone. So, aside from how wild that was, it's kind of like a weird premise to begin with, right? Like, it's about people who are getting ghosted. Their texts aren't being answered, their calls aren't being returned, but they want a second date, so they figure, hey, maybe if I call the radio and I get the radio host to interrogate my date, they'll want a second date with me. Because that's really what people want, is to be interrogated on the radio. And the fact that the premise is weird would be forgivable if it weren't for the fact that this entire show is completely fake. That's right, the date didn't even happen. The whole show is fake, the date was fake, the story's fake, cocaine's not even real. Even though they do a couple things to try to make you believe it's real, like when the person answers the phone, Fred and Angie have to ask if it's okay that they're on the radio, making it seem like they need to get consent because this person hasn't signed a release. But all in all, they do such a bad job of making this seem real. For one, they seem to do this show a lot. I think they do it multiple times a week. In fact, on the podcast page, they upload one of these podcasts every weekday, so 5 times a week. So you'd think they would need people to be calling in constantly to volunteer to be on this show. But one thing that I've noticed while listening to the show is they never advertise how to get on the show. They never say a number to call or a website to go to or an email to email. There is no way, from listening to the show at least, to get on the show. So I decided, okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I just have to do a little bit of digging to get on the show. So a couple days ago, I tried my best to get on Waiting by the Phone. And here's what happened. So I'm just gonna Google it to see if there's a number listed anywhere. All right, so I Googled Waiting by the Phone Kiss FM phone number. The first option is just an episode of Waiting by the Phone that you can listen to. And then the second one is Best of Waiting by the Phone. These are some videos of Waiting by the Phone. Okay, so there's no number listed anywhere for you to call Waiting by the Phone. Literally no information on how to get on Waiting by the Phone. So what I think I'm gonna do is over here on Kiss FM's website, you can click, there's an option to contact Kiss FM. So I'm gonna do that, and then there's a few numbers here: studio line, business line, advertise with us. So I'm just gonna try calling the studio line and see if I can get on Waiting by the Phone. Okay, I am calling Kiss FM's studio line. Just not pick up. Can you even call Kiss FM at all? I've been waiting for 3 minutes now and no one has picked up, so I'm gonna hang up. Can I tune into the radio right now and see what's going on? Maybe they're doing something where they're using all the phone lines. Okay, no, they're just playing Selena Gomez. So, no reason that they shouldn't be able to pick up the phone. I assume they have employees that do that. Maybe I'll try calling the business line. Waiting by the Phone is serious business, so you gotta call the business line.
Thank you for calling iHeartMedia Chicago. Our office is now closed.
I found an email form I can fill out to send to them, so maybe I'll do this instead. Help! I want to be on Waiting by the Phone. Please help! Yes, I would like a reply. Yes, I am not a robot. And submit. Your request has been received. All right, we'll see what happens. All right, it's the next day. It is 10:54. So hopefully this is within office hours of the Kiss FM studio line. I'm gonna try calling them again. They're not gonna pick up, are they? They're never gonna pick up. Okay, so I'm just gonna assume that their studio line doesn't exist and there's actually no way to contact Kiss FM unless they ever respond to my email request, which I also doubt they will do. So yeah, it's impossible to get on the show because everyone on the show is an actor, and if you are not an actor, then you cannot be on the show. Alrighty, let's check out another episode, why don't we? This one's called The Dump and Dash.
How you doing?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Very well. Thanks so much for calling. Waiting by the Phone. Tell us about your date with Stephanie, how you guys met, and where you guys stand right now.
Well, we were talking for a bit on Bumble. We went out for drinks, Cinco de Mayo. We even hooked up, which was awesome.
Oh man, they hooked up? That sounds awesome.
It might have just been, a kind of a one-night thing because she hasn't responded to any of my texts warmly or hasn't jumped on anything.
Okay, and that you didn't want a one-night thing. Like, you've reached out to see her again. You want to repeat at least. Well, that's where we come in. We'll call and ask some questions. You'll be on the phone. Maybe we can straighten this out and set you guys up on another date.
All right, so the date went great. They even hooked up. It was awesome. And this dude couldn't think of any reason that this girl wouldn't want to text him back. So let's see what the girl has to say when they call her.
Can you tell us where you guys stand?
So he called you?
Yeah.
Right. It's called waiting by the phone.
He's a little confused.
He reached out to us and told us about the date. He likes you, wants to see you again, and is hoping we can put you guys back together.
Probably not.
So what happened? Because why are you just not interested, or did something go on, or did he say something, or?
I mean, it's just like, all right. He the bed.
He pooped in her bed, left, and then apparently was like, damn, that was a great date. I killed it. I didn't think I had it in me, but I hooked up with her and pooped in her bed? That was awesome.
I woke up and there was in my bed.
I forgot to mention that Joe is here. Joe, you left that detail out.
Oh, my God.
That's a key detail in all of this.
Oh, my God.
It's not a real detail.
So he tries to defend himself for a little bit, being like, what? I didn't know that. I must have been so drunk that I didn't even remember that I pooped in your bed. I didn't know. But then like 2 seconds later, he admits that he did it and that he knew he did it.
Oh my God. Wouldn't I know if it was my because it would be in my pants, not on my bed, all right?
Yeah, Buster, let's get one thing straight. When I poop my pants, I know it. Because it's in my pants and not all over my bed.
Why would I just randomly the bed and not remember? I was also drunk. I wasn't necessarily just embarrassed. I barely knew that.
He barely knew? How do you barely know that you pooped in someone's bed? Oh, come on, dude. I barely even knew I pooped in her bed. Like, yeah, I know that I pooped somewhere that wasn't the toilet. And yeah, I noticed there was poop in her bed. But how was I supposed to know those two things were related? So this whole time, this dude knew that he pooped in this girl's bed. He knew it from the start, but he still went for days without her texting him back, wondering why she's not texting him back. And then he decided to call the radio. So these two radio hosts would harass this poor girl and ask her, why won't you call him back? Never once thinking it might be because he pooped in her bed. This show is insane. This show is a nightmare. So you might notice from the two examples that I've shown that the show is a little bit formulaic. That's one of the big issues I have with it, is that every episode plays out the exact same way, which one could argue is a huge indication that the show is scripted. One could argue it, and one does. It is I am the one. The person who calls in always starts off by saying we had such a great time, everything was great, I can't figure out why they won't call me back. A lot of times they even throw in we went back to my place and hooked up, at which point Fred and Angie are always like, oh, wow, they hooked up. That's kind of interesting. And then, of course, they call the ghoster, and it turns out that they're not the weird one. It was the ghostee all along. And the reason they ghosted him is because they did some weird shit on their date, like poop in their bed or take them to a drug deal. This happens in literally every single episode. This one's called The Competitive Eater.
After we do waiting by the phone, hi, Greg.
Hi.
Oh shit, this one's about Greg. Hey, Greg. Let's hear how Greg fucked up. So we can just skip past the exposition for this one. We know that the date went well, and he can't figure out why this girl won't call him back. Let's just skip to the part where they call her.
I guess the best way to put it was he embarrassed himself really, really badly, and he embarrassed me.
How did he do that? Because he said everything went really well and he had a good time. He didn't share anything. So what happened? How did he embarrass you both?
Wait, hold on. Greg did something weird? What a twist! But he said everything on the date went fine. And now you're telling me that everything didn't go fine and Greg did something weird? I don't know, man. Seems a little sus to me.
And we were sitting at the bar having a drink, and all of a sudden he's on the stage with a bunch of other men and a woman, actually, and there are piles of soft tacos and pitchers of water and just food everywhere. He took off his button-down shirt and he was wearing his wife's beater underneath.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Oh my God, the visual's amazing on this.
Okay, and so you're still sitting there at the table because you were on this dinner date, and so you're going to be a spectator now.
Okay, this dude's kind of a savage. So this dude goes on a first date with a girl and leaves the girl halfway through the date to go enter a competitive taco eating contest, and then I guess leaves the date thinking that he totally killed it. Very typical date, if you asked me. We talked about work, exchanged pleasantries, made small talk. I ate 100 tacos, threw up, and kissed her goodbye. Just another classic first date with Greg.
After the whole thing is over, he comes back and he's starting to complain about his stomach hurt.
Just hold on 1 second. So you're being so dramatic.
And then Greg doubles down. He's like, wait. You are being so dramatic right now. I thought you'd think it was really romantic if I shoved 50 tacos down my throat and then got a tummy ache and had to go home.
I don't know. I maybe misjudged the situation as far as I don't think that we're
compatible.
Now he's like trying to break up with her. He's like, look, I just don't know if we're compatible, okay? I don't know if I could ever be with someone that didn't want to watch me strip down to my tank top and eat soft tacos by the dozen. It's like, dude, we've all already established that you're not compatible. That's why she didn't call you. I guess it's important that you come to this conclusion too, but don't act like you're the one who decided it. These characters are so bizarre, and I understand that that's the point. Like, that's where the entertainment value comes from, is like, whoa, this wacky thing happened. But Kiss FM releases one of these episodes every weekday. So they expect us to believe that they find 5 of these scenarios every week. Mind you, without knowing that the scenario is this crazy beforehand. They just know that there's a very normal sounding guy who had a very normal sounding date and now someone's not responding to them. Like, how many people would you have to go through until you got to a situation that was this weird? Because I feel like 99% of the people they call would just be like, oh, yeah, we just didn't really have a strong connection and I didn't really feel like seeing him again. Because obviously, not every single first date goes wrong because someone started competitively eating or pooping in someone's bed. All right, here's one more episode called The Crazy You Date.
Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. Yeah, I went on this date with this girl, and I had a really great time. You know, we got drinks. We even hooked up. That was cool.
Well, that's all good stuff.
Bam,
you go on a
bam,
date,
bam.
you know.
Oh, wow, you hooked up, huh? Bam, bam, bam. Is that how it went? Did it go bam, bam, bam?
Hello?
Hi, is this Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Good morning, Fred and Angie from the Morning Radio Show on Kiss FM in Chicago. I'm sorry to bother, but I have to tell you that we are on the radio right now. I would need your consent to continue with the call. Is that okay if we talk for a couple of minutes?
Okay.
Oh, another thing, why is every person that they call always, like, just cool with being on the radio without any warning? They always pick up and they're immediately just, like, cool with talking about their sex life and their dating life on the radio. They're just like, hey, so we heard that you had sex with this guy and now you won't call him or text him. Would you care to tell millions of people why you did that? Oh, yeah, I'd love to. Because I feel like if they called me, it would probably just be like, hey, Danny, we're with the radio. We just have a couple questions about someone you went on a date with and hooked up with. Do you mind being on the radio real quick? Yes. Or I just wouldn't even pick up, because I never pick up unknown numbers, and I'm pretty sure no one does. And this right here is exactly why. Because those pesky telemarketers always trying to get you on the radio. Yeah, another weird thing is that they even pick up in the first place. The show airs at like 9 a.m., so presumably a lot of these people must be at work, right? Why are these people so cool with just like talking about their dating life out in the open at work? Just in your cubicle, like, oh, you want to ask me about a girl I hooked up with? Sure. Okay, so basically, right after we hooked up, this girl put a huge poopy in my sock drawer. Excuse me, sir, this is an office. If we could keep private conversations outside, if you need to step outside. Fuck off. Yeah, and then she peed in all my water bottles. Yeah, an entire 24 pack. I don't even know how she found the time to do that without me noticing. All right, anyway, let's find out why this girl is ghosting this guy.
Wow. Well, he really freaked me out.
Why?
We went on this date and we were having a good time and talking about all the shows that we're binging. And I started talking about this show, You, that I'm obsessed with. I thought that, that was the end of it. And then we go back to his place and like to hook up. And then he disappeared for a while. And then he came back wearing this ball cap, like that guy Joe.
Wearing the hat?
And a backpack.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
he's wearing a ball cap and a backpack, and
Oh, no.
he started talking like Joe, and it freaked me out.
Whoever writes these, what kind of people do you think exist? Is this something that you think happens on first dates, like all the time? So this girl said she was obsessed with you, and then they go back, in her words, because she thought they were gonna hook up, and then he leaves for a bit and comes back dressed up as the creepy guy from You. I don't know if he's like a murderer or something, because I've never watched the show.
He turns into the psychopath?
Yeah, he started calling me Beck.
Oh my God. I would have ran so fast.
I know.
I'm
The guy's a
scared right now.
psychopath in the show,
Yeah.
and you're embodying that.
Yeah, I thought you were into that, Beck.
I thought you would like it if I, for all intents and purposes, a stranger to you, dressed up as a creepy psychopath from a TV show while you're alone with me in my apartment. I thought you'd think it was hot, babe. How was I supposed to know? Wait, the weird thing is that the dude said that they hooked up at the beginning. Remember? Bam, bam, bam. But the girl says they just went there because she thought they were gonna hook up, but then he left and came back dressed up as this dude from You. So did whoever wrote the script just forget that they had the guy say that they hooked up? Or does the guy think that dressing up as a character from You counts as hooking up? Does he think that's what hooking up is? Anyway, That's the end of that episode. I would just really like to be in the minds of Fred and Angie and whoever writes the show. I don't know if it's Fred and Angie or if they even know that the show is fake. Maybe they don't even know. Maybe someone else entirely writes the show and the producers at the show do the whole thing, but Fred and Angie don't even know that it's fake and they think they're really on the phone with real people. Because a lot of the times the reactions do seem surprisingly genuine, but the show is definitely fake. I just don't know if Fred and Angie know this. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here and you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe and turn on my notifications to join Greg. Greg is what I call my subscribers. We're an army, baby. Fastest growing army on the whole internet. Don't look that up. Alright, thank you Stella for turning on my notifications. You are truly Greg. I'll see you guys next time with a really interesting video where I climb onto the top of the Empire State Building with a little girl in my hand and swat away planes, but then I die. Bye! This video is over now. Go find something else to watch, or just watch this video. I know we had a lot of fun, but you can't stay on this end screen forever. No. This video is over now. So why are you still watching this?